All right. Sorry. Today is Monday, February 17th. I'm questioning it because I worked last night, so every day becomes the same day. We are in Mercury retrograde. Mercury Gatorade. I'm not here to talk about Mercury retrograde itself. I'm here to talk about feelings and getting through the darkness and how Mercury retrograde actually works to trigger the darkness even more than you already are being triggered. So, when you have a feeling of sadness or disappointment or fear, your brain will trigger you to have a memory as to when you felt this particular way. And your brain will try to resolve this feeling by finding answers. And you will go into a downward spiral of feelings and memories that are negative and that are disgusting and that are bad. And your turmoil is going to sit at the bottom of your belly and it's going to go all the way up to your chest and it's going to clog up your throat. And you're just going to be a disaster and you're just going to keep spinning completely out of control. I'm here to tell you that unless you sit in the darkness and in the disgusting feelings and in that pain and in that turmoil, you will never get past it to the other side where you may find peace and happiness and understanding. And if you don't sit in the nasty, gross darkness and disconnect from the outside world and disconnect from your friends and disconnect from social media and disconnect from numbing these emotions with alcohol, drugs, meaningless sex, meaningless relationships, you will continue this turmoil and this turning point of disastrous emotions that are continuously erupting within you that will continue to trigger you to just be in a depressed, sad, anxiety-based mood. So, I have learned, and I am teaching you guys right now, that the greatest way to heal from absolutely anything is to sit in the grossness of it. So, I recently have been putting up boundaries. So, we talk about boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. When you put up a wall, and we've talked about this before, is when you keep everything and everybody out. Boundaries are just limitations as to what you are willing to do or see or interact with or eat or travel to or put on. Boundaries as to emotional boundaries, limitations, right? And these boundaries are very important to you and to me when you set them. And in these boundaries, you start to sort of learn about who you really are. And how are you going to be able to know these boundaries? It's a great question. Boundaries are set by your understanding of what makes you comfortable and uncomfortable. When you're in a really low vibration of like pain and sadness, and you're really, really sitting in your sadness and in your darkness, your boundaries are way more than somebody who is vibrating at a higher level of love and self-understanding and not fear. It's all a phase and it's all a journey, and we're all just trying to get through it by journeying through this pain. So to sit in the darkness means you disconnect from distractions and you literally sit in it. And you don't try to resolve it, but you try to understand it. You recognize it. With Mercury retrograde, what happens is it's a universal switch, a twist, a pull, a retrograde. So instead of moving this forward linear way, a planetary switch kind of happens and everything gets turned around and upside down. So basically what happens is you have now faced your fears, for example, and I'm going to get real with you, and I'm not sharing any of these stories with you because I want you to feel bad for me. I want you to understand where I'm coming from. So I have left a terrible, abusive relationship. 5 years legally divorced. Gone, right? No longer there. No longer exists. That's the first step into walking into your freedom, into your healing. deep down underneath that layer is basically, I'm sorry, my dog. Basically the next layer of stuff that you need to deal with and stuff that you need to dive in deeper. So you're not going to be able to take care of this on your own. You're going to need to find help. Whether, I say it all the time, you need to reach out to people that are there to unconditionally love you and professionals that can really guide you through this healing. And it takes time and it takes effort. So during Mercury retrogrades or during any type of memory that gets triggered, because your emotions will trigger memories and memories will trigger emotions, you have to be aware that half of these things that you are feeling are triggered from a past experience or something that has happened in the past. For me, personally, my triggers come from feeling left behind, feeling neglected, feeling not wanted. Because in my relationship with my ex-husband, I wasn't wanted and I wasn't respected and I wasn't needed. I was just somebody that was there that was not important, that wasn't validated. When I had the hardest of times, when I was at the lowest vibration, when I was at the worst, when I was freaking out with fear that we weren't going to make it from month to month to month, instead of having a supportive a husband that was there to support me and educate me and hold me when I need to be held, he threw my insecurities in my face. And he didn't validate me, and he didn't respect me, and he didn't support me, and he didn't support any of my decisions. So when you are in unconditional love with somebody who is being abusive or neglective or condescending to you, you start vibrating at a lower vibration of like lack of self-worth, because you're trusting this person and you're connecting to this person and you're vibrating with this person and you're really, really, really believing what this person has to say about you because you're in unconditional love. You unconditionally love this person and respect them and want them to love you and treat you the right way. So you're believing when you're at a low vibration of need and clinging on an attachment, which I was in, you allow these people to convince you that you are worthless, that your pain and your suffering and your sadness and your anxiety is not something that they respect because they don't see it in your perspective, so you're wrong. Fast forward 6 years, single, without this person in my life, I still have triggers that come up for me. And one of the biggest triggers in the past couple of weeks was I really liked someone and I made the effort to connect with this person. I made the effort to want to see them and hang out with them and to meet them out for coffee. And I really felt the vibe. You guys have been there. You feel this vibe. You feel like everything is going great and you guys are vibing and everything's fantastic and you're like ready for it, right? Because you're like, well, I've done the work and I've done all this stuff and it's going to be okay and it's going to be great and this person is going to want to hang out with me. And then they don't. They don't call. They don't text. They don't communicate with you. They just kind of like ghost, right? What that does for anybody, especially during Mercury retrograde, is it brings up this worthlessness, this pit of your stomach boiling, this insecurity, this lack of self-trust, this lack of self-love, this questioning your existence, questioning over one freaking cup of coffee, but still, it's not minuscule, it's real and it's true. And what you need to do when that comes up is recognize it and acknowledge it and live in it and dive in it and submerge in it and be in this pain that starts at the pit of your stomach and moves all the way up to your heart and all the way up to your throat. Because what it's doing is it's your core telling you that there are some deep-rooted issues that you need to get through, that you need to sit with. And in meditation, when you are breathing and you're in the moment and you're concentrating on breath and you're understanding that when a thought comes into your mind and you just push it back out and concentrate on your breath again, and you do that for a minute and then 2 minutes and then 3 minutes of just letting thoughts pass through, you start to understand that thoughts and feelings are not eternal. They come and go. We may feel really, really good 1 minute and we may feel really, really bad the next minute, and that we have control of these emotions as long as we get them taken care of and handled. And that these triggers will become smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and you will be in a state of happiness that when these triggers come up, you'll be able to understand where they're coming from. For me, a lot of the memories that I have of my ex are very negative memories. And a lot of the things that he still tries to do are still very manipulative and very reflective of like his character and his behavior. But I have dealt with those feelings of lack of self-worth, of, you know what? lack of being able to take care of myself and my own. I have passed that. I've surpassed that. I was told that if I went through this divorce and I went through this career change and I went through this growth period of being on my own, that I wasn't going to be able to make it, that I was going to fail. Well, so far we're good, because I've had the faith and the strength to get through it. Now, the nastiest part of this emotional turmoil and this healing is the lack of self-worth. And that is very difficult to overcome. That is very difficult to survive. Surviving being cheated on, being abused, being dragged through the mud, being talked down to, being manipulated, being part of a narcissistic relationship. It takes a really long time to get to the nitty-gritty bottom of it. And a really good friend of mine who I called because I had all these triggers come up, her name is Bernadette. I'm actually going to tag her in one of the videos on Instagram. So if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. And if this is Instagram where I'm also posting this, then just, you're already here. And I called her and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I have anxiety over this dude. I have anxiety over this situation. I have anxiety over the people that are around me. I have anxiety over what people are doing. I have anxiety. And she's like, okay, well, you're literally looking outside for answers. And you're not looking to see what these triggers are coming from. You're not looking to see where this energy is coming from. You're not looking to see where this anxiety is coming from. So you have to sit in it. I'm not trying to find a solution. But if you're having a bad day, for God's sakes, commit to your bad day. Commit to it. Don't be mean to other people and don't take it out on anybody else, but commit to your sadness. I know that's fucking weird, but you do. You have to commit to your sadness. You have to commit to the healing in the darkness. That is what dancing with your shadows is. That's what dancing with your demons is. It's committing to your sadness. Somebody asks you, how are you? I'm not okay today. Anything I can do? No, I'm literally sorting it out. And you sit in it and sit in it and sit in it. You don't try to figure out where it's coming from. You don't try to figure out what's causing it. Eventually and slowly while you're sitting in it, you start to understand where it's coming from. And once you survive that minute, that 5 minutes, that 20 minutes, that day and a half, you come out of the other side understanding that you're not at fault for feeling this way, that you are in a healing journey, that a lot of the things that are coming up in your life, new connections, new relationships, new jobs, new opportunities, and this fear and this yuck that's coming through because Mercury retrograde will make you feel that way, because it wants you to understand that as much as all these great things are happening for you, you still have to get through the muck of it. And you have to really dive deep into these feelings. And I say it a lot, but meditation really, really helps. Being in the moment really, really, really helps. Being grateful for the journey really, really, really helps. And crying and feeling these feelings and healing through them really, 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 really helps. So, be easy on yourselves. Take good care of yourselves. Stop giving yourself such a hard time that it's a difficult thing to heal from somebody who cheated on you. You'll carry it with you for a very, very long time. And emotions trigger memories. And memories trigger emotions. Dates also trigger memories. January 7th was my final divorce date. My legal final divorce date 5 years ago. And this is the first year that the 7th came and went, and I didn't even know it. It was like January 15th, and I was like, wait a minute. Because on January 7th, my marriage was over. It was a good idea for my marriage to be over. Towards the end, it was it was just toxic, but it's the end of an era. It's the end of the idea of them, something that you wanted to be no longer is. And that's another thing that my girlfriend Bernadette basically brought up, and it's completely true. We are literally mourning the idea of what we want something to be. Not for what it really, really was, but what we wanted it to be. And January 7th was me mourning what I wanted it to be and then realizing that it was never what I wanted it to be. That I should be grateful that it's over. And this throat chakra blockage from this solar plexus pulling up for your self-worth and your heart that is broken and then going up to your throat. This is all bullshit that's coming up of things that you want to say to these people. Like, you fucked with me, you made me hurt, you abused me, you betrayed me, you cheated on me. But instead, because you can't go back 5 years, you can't go back 10 years, you can't go back 20 years, you can't go back to your childhood, you can't go back to your last lover, you just can't do it. What you can do is forgive them for not knowing how to love you appropriately. And it's not about punishing them. If they are so angry and so mad, they're operating from a low vibration of like insecurity, imbalanced lower chakras, not rooted with themselves, not happy with themselves, if they're lashing out at you and they're abusing you, they're already miserable. And you're not here to seek revenge. You're here to find love within yourselves. And the best way to recover from this blockage in your throat is to inhale love and exhale hate. And Om is great too for it. Om. Get it out. Shake it off. Get all this shit out of your system, because you are much better than the person that hurt you. You are much better than the person that dragged you through the mud. And you weren't at fault for loving them unconditionally. And you weren't at fault for moving on with your life. And you're not at fault currently trying to get your shit together, because you deserve better. And you are getting better. So during this Mercury retrograde, if you're feeling really, really brave, go out there and date. Meet new people. Go out. Get out there. Push your boundaries. Pull your boundaries. Figure out where they are. Don't put up walls. Dive in head first. And then know this pain that is coming to you, it's from something in the past. And you have to sit in it. And you have to figure it out. And you have to understand that you're not at fault for your abusers. You should be grateful that they brought you where you are. You should be grateful that they taught you that you are worth so much more, because without them, you would still be dragged through the mud by them. So Mercury Gatorade, Mercury retrograde, or any simple trigger that comes up for you that makes you feel this disgusting feeling, it's not you, it's your past. And what your past is teaching you, that it's in the past, and that you've done all this work, because you're here with me right now for a full 17 minutes of me blabbing on, that you got this. And that you have to just keep diving in it. And you have to seek help for those around you. Friends, loved ones, professionals, Reiki practitioners, chakra balancing experts, aura cleansers, EMDR therapists, counselors, psychiatrists, yoga, meditation. It's all out there. Wonderful books that are out there to guide you to understand that if you're not mindful and living in mindfulness to take care of yourself and to heal in it, you're going to keep repeating the same patterns over and over again, the same fucked up relationships over and over again, and the same kind of narcissistic behavior is going to be repeated, because you're going to be the one allowing it, and you have the power to change and make it change. So be easy on yourselves, especially the next couple of weeks. It's bumpy. Feel the yuckiness, accept it, love it, breathe it in, and let it go. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helped you guys in some way. Love you.